This is Scott from KIG. It is December 2nd, 2020. We're going to do a runoff video or videos today of this pristine condition 2016 General Air Products 14-ton air-cooled water / glycol chiller. We got this. We obtained this through some type of lab, actually out here in the Northeast, New England. My point being, it's an outdoor rated unit, but in this case here, they ran it. The prior owner ran it indoors. It is in very, very, very good condition. Model number ACCPS 161-4B. It's 460 volt, 3-phase power. Draws about 36 to 39 amps if you look at the ID tag there carefully. It's a package chiller, meaning it has a pump and reservoir internal. This particular design, the heat exchanger evaporator, you can kind of get a feel for how clean this thing is. It's behind this wall here. I believe it's a 70-gallon tank. It's a cylindrical tank, and the evaporator is a coil type heat exchanger evaporator, immersed or submerged inside that tank. As such, if you want, you can run the unit as a pressurized loop because the tank is sealed. You have a little air vent here. In normal operating conditions, for nearly all applications, you'll leave this open so it can vent off air. But if you do need to, for whatever reason, run a pressurized loop, you would close that valve here. And what's going to ship with the chiller, for whatever reason, this bypass valve came in on the drain. We're going to ship it loose in a box. But that pressure relief bypass, as a safety, you normally would put here on the outlet of the chiller. We did for our loop here, we just set up a glycol loop from the inlet and the outlet. That's the return or in. That's the out. They actually do a nice job. They actually EDM or laser cut the actual symbols right into the sheet metal of the chiller. The expansion tank, the prior customer actually had this. You may or may not need to use this. We're going to ship that loose in a box. Pressure gauge right there. This unit we modified slightly, just controller settings, so you can run a set point down as low as 20 Fahrenheit. When you have this chiller under power or turn it on and off, it's best to do it just by the top left snowflake here, which is the standby button. Right now I do have it in standby, which is effectively off, but the crankcase heater on the 14 horsepower Copeland Scott roll compressor will remain on, and that's what you want. Don't turn your chiller on and off by the main disconnect unless you're going to power it down for a very long time. If you do, when you do power the unit back up, let that heater be on for at least 12 hours before you run the compressor. The unit, in a test environment, we can open this door right now, but normally you'd have to turn that disconnect switch off, and then these two mechanical locks to open the door. One little accident we had is we snapped off the rod here on the rotary disconnect. We have a new one ordered. Under no circumstances whatsoever should you run the chiller without that new part installed, which we plan on installing, time permitting. We may have to drop ship that part, we'll see, depending on timing. It's got a nice hefty, approximately 3 horsepower centrifugal pump. You have your refrigerant dryer there, sight glass, pressure switches, thermal expansion valve. And you got one nice feature, and this is also your low and high refrigerant pressure gauges. Again, we've run this unit so I can run down a 20 Fahrenheit glycol in an outdoor environment. 20 Fahrenheit glycol, I'd like to see 45% or 50% concentration. Don't go any higher, and definitely don't go much lower. So I'm gonna take it off standby mode here. And right now you can see we have the we heated up the tank. I say heated, we just ran it up to 65 F, and we're going to run this down to 20 F for a while. We have run it at 20 F for a couple days. To change the set point, I just hold the set button in for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. This comes up, and I press the down arrow. I'm just going to leave it pressed down. You have a 20 F limit. I'm going to press set again. And the compressor should turn on shortly after a little bit of a delay. But again, just to make sure that it's embedded and saved in there, I'm going to press that set button again. And that's telling me what my set point is, so it was saved. That again. That's the initial scroll compressor noise when it first turns on, which is normal for a scroll compressor. It's starting to chill. The pump always runs, by the way, the glycol pump. Both fans are on. This has a differential of about 4 degrees. You want to keep that, meaning it's going to run down to 20 F. The compressor and/or fans will shut off. And then it's going to wait till it gets up to 24 F to turn back on again. You don't want to run much tighter of a differential than that, because then you'll have short cycling of the compressor. We'll come back with video number 2 after we have this thing cycling on and off at the 20 F glycol temperature for a while. And when we do that, you'll actually see ice built up on the back fittings that I just showed you.